Welcome everybody to Let's Play Mega Man Xtreme or Rockman X Cyber Mission. Originally released, let's see here, October 20th of the year 2000 in Japan, and then would release everywhere else in 2001. And then will be re-released in the 3DS Virtual Console in 2013 in Japan and 2014 everywhere else. And that's basically it. My first main gripe with Mega Man Xtreme, and it's not something that Xtreme can actually control, by the way, we're going through, all the menus here, so you can see that this game actually, unlike the previous two Mega Man X games that we played, there is no password system, because this game came out in the year 2000, so we're now on to the save system. We also have some basic options here for configuring your control types, for the normal and simple type. I'll talk more about the actual controls later on, because I had to do some remapping to make it work for me. Two extras, basically we can auto charge and we can rapid fire because we're working off a Game Boy Color, so limited tech, handheld tech, it's better to have that kind of control. And we have a sound test here for the various songs in the game as well as for sound effects. So that's all really basic stuff. My first main gripe with Mega Man Xtreme, it's not something that's actually an issue with Mega Man Xtreme itself, it's the fact that this game has not been re-released since the 3DS Virtual Console. It's not part of the Mega Man X Legacy Collection Volumes 1 or 2, and that's a big deal because, game preservation is important, and, compared to the classic Mega Man series, which has a lot of, which has a lot of spin-off titles, Mega Man X series only has two, really, which is the two Xtreme games, but I'll get more into that in a second. We're going to have a very, very quick little cutscene right now. Okay, and with that, we are launched back into the highway from Mega Man X1. Welcome back. This is not the same X as the one from the original Mega Man X. You can tell because he can actually dash here without the need of any sort of special Dark Light upgrade. He just has that dash ability, which is something that's been ingrained to him since X2 onwards. So already we can tell story-wise that this is not an X who is just who has regressed back to the days of Mega Man X1. This is an X who has already gone through the first two X games. Game preservation is important, and the fact that Xtreme and Xtreme 2 and Command Mission to a lesser extent, but also Command Mission, that they aren't represented at all in the Mega Man X Legacy Collection is not a great thing. I'm not a fan of that at all, so don't like that at all. That's my first major problem with Mega Man Xtreme, and it's not a problem with Mega Man Xtreme itself. It's a problem with, the state of game preservation nowadays, and picking and choosing what titles get into collections. It's the same problem that the Metal Gear Solid collection, the new Master, that new Master collection has. It's the same issue. It's a shame, really. Anyway, let's talk about the actual game itself. Going to the highway again. It's a nice, simplified version of the highway. Mega Man Xtreme does a phenomenal job of bringing the Mega Man X experience to a handheld, and we're going to be talking about that more as we go on. But first, actually, I'm jumping from place to place here, but again, it's a Mega Man X game, limited time, a lot of things to talk about. Autosave. That is a new thing for the Mega Man X series. That is brand new to Xtreme. We're not going to have that when we move on to Mega Man X3 next time, but we'll talk more about the autosaves later on, because there's a whole bunch of cool little things about the autosaves that you would want to know if you're playing Xtreme yourself, which unfortunately the only way to really do that is either through an actual Game Boy Color or, emulator like I'm doing. Not that I condone that, but obviously that's the way it has to be due to the fact that it's not on the Legacy Collection. Anyway, this game does a wonderful job of recreating past events with slight twists, like the fact that Vile mispronounced as Vava here, is an actual boss and not a scripted thing where you lose in order to drive home the point that Mega Man X is not strong enough yet to win. This is an X who has gone through the first two games and, is strong enough to take on Vile, so he's an actual boss here. It's very simple. He's weak to the X-Buster. There's not much to it. Just, he dashes, he punches, and that's about it for Vava, or Vile, as it were. And with that, we're going to launch into a giant exposition thing, and then I'm going to talk more about Mega Man Xtreme. So see you then. All right, so that whole exposition thing was actually a really great segue into why I'm talking so specifically about the dates. By the way, here I'm showing off the saving. You'll see the saving after every single stage. It's great. The fact that there's no passwords this time. But of course, without passwords, that means that, getting to recreating certain things over and over again for recording purposes is a little bit more tricky. Here's our conceit of the game. Mega Man Xtreme borrows from the first four, from the entire Rockman world, or Mega Man for Game Boy series, wherein you have bosses, but you can only fight 4 at a time. In this case, it's Chill Penguin, Spark Mandrill, Storm Eagle, and Flame Stag. Chill Penguin, Spark Mandrill, and Storm Eagle being for Mega Man X1, Flame Stag being for Mega Man X2. Despite the fact that the Mega Man for Game Boy or Rockman World Series came out in the early to mid-90s, Xtreme, which came out again in the year 2000, is borrowing heavily from their formulas in order to make a successful simulation of the SNES Mega Man X games onto a handheld. Alright, let's talk a little bit about why I was discussing the dates for Mega Man Xtreme in detail, specifically the original release date of October 20th, 2000. This game, canonically taking place between the events of X2 and X3, came out in between the releases of Mega Man X4 and X5. Here we have a Dr. Light capsule, by the way. We're going to be getting our first upgrade. I'll talk about the upgrades a little bit later. Mega Man X5 would come out on November 30th, so the following month of the year 2000, and Mega Man X4 actually came out August 1st, 1997. So there was actually a little gap in between Mega Man X releases after Mega Man X4 by 3 years, before we would get a barrage of Xtreme, X5, and then X6 really soon after, which, talk about what a mistake that was. That's not to say the Mega Man franchise was doing nothing in that absence. In 1998, for example, I believe we had... What did we have in 1998? We had Mega Man and Bass, the original Rockman Forte, the original Super Famicom release, not the Game Boy Advance release that was localized. Here I'm showing off where the upgrades are and what it's going to look like when you collect parts for your armor, which is a recreation of the first armor. I also showed off the control types again, because in order to get this game to play like a SNES Mega Man X game, because again, I was emulating it, so I was using a PS5 controller to play this on my computer, I had to remap the select button to start, right? That's what I did, right? I had to map select as my start, and I had to map start to my circle button to emulate a SNES, to emulate sort of a SNES control. Here, by the way, is the right armor from Mega Man X2. That is here in Mega Man Xtreme. Again, nice touch to sort of remix things from the first two games to create a sort of unique experience here with Mega Man Xtreme. Because this game was on a handheld originally, the Game Boy Color, with limited buttons, they had to make use of the buttons in weird ways in order to do all the things that Mega Man can normally do. So in order to dash normally in the Game Boy Color, in the original Game Boy Color version of this, you would have to just double tap the direction that X was going in order to dash, or you can press the select button in order to, or you can press the start button to also dash if you wanted to. But I mapped that to the circle button of my PlayStation 5 controller in order to have, better, to have sort of a better SNES feel for this whole thing and make it play and feel a lot better. Because this game does a phenomenal job of recreating the feel and the style of the Mega Man X games. One of the things it doesn't do so well, though, is this little weird thing about bosses. Bosses have very, very long iframes that extend the length of battles to almost kind of ridiculous degrees. In this case, Chill Penguin is going to take a few minutes here because he just has these iframes, not just after he gets hit, but when he's actually setting up certain attacks, like this attack where he's doing the Frost Breath in order to create those two Ice Penguin statues. He is basically invincible during that whole thing. He's invincible during a bunch of his attacks. It's, the sliding attack here. He was invincible for that attack in the SNES original as well, but it feels just more egregious here. Just the actual invincibility frames that bosses have for attacks it's kind of crazy. It's not a problem with every single boss, but there are a few bosses in this game where you can just feel kind of how unfair it is because of just how long they get to be invincible for as they wind up their attacks, or after they get hit by an attack from X. It's kind of crazy. Next thing to talk about, we went over we glossed over the Dr. Light capsule. Actually, you know what? I'll say the Dr. Light capsule thing for a bit, because as you already saw from the very beginning of this game, we already have the dash, so you're probably wondering, what is the leg thing even good for? What is the foot part, the leg upgrade even good for? We'll talk about that as it becomes more relevant. It's actually going to become more relevant in the Storm Eagle stage. For now, though, we need to finish up this Chill Penguin fight, which he's not making it easy with him jumping around and having iframes for all of his attacks, but that's just the deal with Mega Man Xtreme. Expect bosses to have weird iframes for a lot of their attacks. Not every single boss, but a lot of the bosses have, like, iframes that just make the boss fight drag on. But here is another cutscene. Here we go, right now. And with that, we have met our antagonists, Zane, Giemel, and Techno. Techno we'll talk about later. Zane and Giemel are this game's rival bosses. Since Mega Man X2 introduced rival bosses in the form of the X-Hunters, every single X game after that has some form of a special rival character that X and or Zero have to fight throughout the course of their adventure, or Axel later on in the series. In this game, that honor falls to Zane and Giemel. They are the Shadow Hunters. They're okay. They're pretty cool. For, Game Boy spin-off side villains, they perform the job well. When we actually get to them, you'll see just how easy the fights are with their weaknesses and stuff. For now, though, we're in Storm Eagle's stage. We're back in Storm Eagle's stage. I want to give a shout out to the soundtrack of Mega Man Xtreme. It is a wonderful 8-bit rendition of the classic Mega Man X1 and X2 themes that we love oh so much from both those games. Made an 8-bit here. They sound wonderful here. And also want to give a shout out to just how the game looks. I was mentioning it very briefly, by the way, here instead of a heart tank, it's a sub tank, but it is in fact still in the same place. It's a heart tank. This is going to be a collectibles guide for this game, just like there are for all the other Xtreme games. Speeding up here because we already went through this once before in regular speed, so I'm just speeding through there again. The autosaves we'll get to in a little bit. Again, there's a whole little bit coming up to describe how autosaves work and why they are so excellent. Mega Man Xtreme does a wonderful job of recreating the Mega Man X formula. There's a heart tank in there, by the way. Of recreating the Mega Man X formula for a handheld. This really does feel like a scaled down but faithful recreation of what Mega Man X is. And again, the fact that this stuff is not represented in the Mega Man X Legacy Collection is not great. I'm speeding up here because this takes a little bit with a shotgun ice to blow these up, but you can't blow it up. And just like in the original SNES game, there's a life in there, which is nice. Let's talk about the leg upgrade. Leg upgrade lets you do dash jumps off of walls. You can't do that naturally without the leg upgrade, so you have to use the leg upgrade in order to get to this Dr. Light capsule, which, as you can see from the blocks, it's the exact same Dr. Light capsule that we got in the original Mega Man X game with the head upgrade. So the most useless of the upgrades is the one that just lets you jump up and smash certain blocks. Nothing to it. You'll also notice that unlike in Mega Man X, we don't actually get to see the armor that X is getting here, unless you actually pause and go into the armor menu, and in which case at that point you'll be able to see what armor upgrades X currently has, at least until you get all of them. Once you have all of them, then you'll be able to see X wearing his Mega Man X1 armor. This game is great. This is the first time I've played this game ever for this commentary and for this Let's Play, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I was not looking forward to playing Xtreme that much when I started working on the Mega Man X Let's Play series. I was really just hoping to gloss over Xtreme so I can get to Xtreme 2, which I know that one is the better one, because you can also play as Zero and all that stuff. But I was very pleasantly surprised by how good this is. By the way, that little thing where you can kind of jump down there and get a some free health and weapon energy, that's not a thing in the Game Boy Color version of this stage. Very funny. But no, I was very pleasantly surprised by how good Mega Man Xtreme is. Really, really fun time playing this game. Storm Eagle, a faithful recreation. Unlike Chill Penguin, he doesn't have the annoying iframes thing. So the annoying iframes thing, where bosses are just invincible as they set up and do certain attacks, is not a thing that is an equal issue for every single boss. It's an issue for Chill Penguin and makes the Chill Penguin fight last a while, but a boss like Storm Eagle, he doesn't have that iframe thing. I wasn't trying to hit him there when he was doing his time without letting him showing off his attacks, but he doesn't have any iframes for any of his attacks, so it's a much faster affair to take him down as compared to Chill Penguin or as compared to some later bosses. By the way, here I'm showing off a thing that you can do in the with the Storm Eagle fight, where you can actually get behind him and he will keep flapping away and not be able to push you back. It's a thing that you can do in Xtreme, in the SNES original, but you can't do in Maverick Hunter X. I tried doing it in to recreate this whole thing where he flaps his wings to, throw you off the arena, and you can get behind him. You can do it in Xtreme, you can do it in Mega Man X, but you can't do it in Maverick Hunter X, which is, a shame, but whatever. It's just a very fun little thing. It's just a continuation of this attention to detail that the Mega Man X series has, that I love about this franchise so much, that even now, this unique little thing about Storm Eagle I only learned about because I accidentally did it with the with the Game Boy version of the Storm Eagle fight, where again, when he's flapping his wings, you can jump behind him, and you can be perfectly safe as he does that attack and hit him from behind. The thing you can do in the original X, the thing you can't do in Maverick Hunter X, because I guess they didn't think about adding that in, or, they've sort of reanimated the attack so that the flapping wings just creates wind, not just in front of him, but throughout the entire arena, which is a weird thing, but whatever. Let's talk about the save system now, because I mentioned it a few times, but now it's time we actually discuss the save system for Mega Man Xtreme. It is really well done in this game, I think. Actually, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to do a sub-tank ride. I'm actually going to show off the best location to grind for sub-tank health in this game. It's in Chill Penguin stage, not Armored Armadillo, because he's not here in this foursome lineup that we're dealing with in this episode. In Chill Penguin stage, there is a certain type of enemy that was also in the Highway stage, but you don't have any sub-tanks at that point, so, it's irrelevant. But these Jamangers, these little flying enemies that when they hit you, they laugh, these enemies have the best chance of dropping health of any in the entire game, and also lives of any enemy in the entire game, so this spot here in Chill Penguin stage is the best spot to grind for sub-tank health. So, just a little thing for you to be aware of. If you decide to play Mega Man Xtreme for yourself, very quick to get a full sub-tank, and you want to get a full sub-tank for Spark Mandrill. Chill Penguin is annoying because he has those iframes. Storm Eagle is easy because he doesn't have those iframes. Spark Mandrill is actually a difficult boss, and we'll talk about that when we get to him, but for now, let's talk about the autosave. So you see, I have a full sub-tank. I can do the escape, and I can save my game as I normally would. If I were to go to the main menu, if I were to close out and just, press start and go down to continue, which is where you can access your saves from. If you just load up a save the good old-fashioned way by choosing a save, actually, if you decide to load up an autosave first, I'm showing the autosave first. If you load up an autosave first, everything that you had from the moment you autosaved is still there. So whatever Sub-tank health you have grinded up is still there. The amount of lives you have is still there. The amount of health you have left is still there. The amount of weapon energy you have is still there. Everything is saved exactly from the point. Everything is saved from the instance that you autosave. By the way, if you get to the end of a stage you've already beaten, boss isn't there, you just teleport out. Let's talk about what happens if you start from a save file, though, and why autosaves are a great thing in Mega Man Xtreme. So, if you go into continue, which is where your save files are, if you decide to not load from an autosave and instead just pick a file to load from, you go to the main menu, and if you were to start playing a stage, you will notice immediately that, unlike the autosave, you don't have the amount of lives, so I don't have my 5 lives anymore, and my sub-tank is empty. Autosaves are fantastic because they will stamp and save all of your information exactly as it was from the moment you did the autosave. So any sub-tank health you have grinded is saved, any weapon energy you have left over is saved, any health you have left over is saved. It is a perfect stamping of where you were from the moment you autosaved, as opposed to just loading up a file regularly, which is the same thing as like loading up a password in Mega Man X1 or X2 or X3 when we eventually get to X3. It, just gives you your default number of lives. It gives you your sub-tanks, however many you have, but they're all empty. Autosaves are superior because they, give you everything as it was. So, you can step away from the game for a while and actually have all of your information with you when you come back to continue it. Just a nice little quality of life thing that I wish the Mega Man X Legacy Collection included with the classic games. This is, by the way, the use of the leg upgrade. Not only can you do the dash jump automatically whenever you wall jump off of walls, but you can also destroy certain blocks with your very strong legs now. Spark Mandrill stage. The stage-changing gimmick from Mega Man X1, where when you beat a certain boss before entering another stage, the stage can change a little bit. So, in the original Mega Man X, if you were to beat Storm Eagle first and then go into Spark Mandrill stage, you would find Spark Mandrill stage different because of the fact that you beat Storm Eagle first. That gimmick does not exist in Mega Man Xtreme. Again, this is a faithful but scaled-back recreation of the original 2 Mega Man X games. And that's one of the things that had to be scaled back. That whole stage, changing based on other stages that you've beaten gimmick is not a thing in Mega Man Xtreme as it was in Mega Man X1 and Maverick Hunter X. That Thunder Slimer, which is the mini boss of Spark Mandrill stage, is still weak to Storm Tornado, but you'll notice not as weak as it was in the original Mega Man X. It took almost all of the Storm Tornado weapon energy bar to actually kill it, but it is still the most effective way, despite the fact that it took so much weapon energy to actually dispose of it. This section, pretty good to use Shotgun Ice. I switch over to Storm Tornado afterwards. Storm Tornado in this game is still good, like it was in the original Mega Man X. It's not broken in the way that it was in the original Mega Man X, where that version of Storm Tornado was like ignoring iframes all over the place and was just like this incredibly powerful, incredibly broken version of the incredibly broken special weapon that you can use. It's not to that level of powerful in Mega Man Xtreme, but it's pretty good in this game. It's about as useful as it was in Maverick Hunter X, which is still very useful. This hard tank you have to use the leg upgrade to get, because you have to be able to do the dash jumps, which again X cannot do normally. You have to get the leg upgrade for that, and once you get the leg upgrade for that, X will be doing those dash jumps automatically. I have no control over when X does the super far dash jumps anymore. When he wall jumps, he just automatically does that all the time now when you have the leg upgrade, which is a good and bad thing. But again, Mega Man Xtreme is a scaled down version of Mega Man X. You have to make some sacrifice controls, and one of those was removing the ability to control when a player wants to do a dash jump off a wall. You just have to make it so that X always does the dash jump. Up here we have a Dr. Light capsule. Because this Mega Man Xtreme only features 4 Maverick stages at a time, and we'll discuss at a time when we get to episode 3. Because Mega Man Xtreme only features 4 Maverick stages at a time, every single stage has to feature a Dr. Light capsule, so Spark Mandrill, which originally did not have a Dr. Light capsule in the original Mega Man X game, does have one here, and they had to add this little special room to justify hiding the capsule and, hiding it behind a prerequisite. In this case, hiding it behind the prerequisite of having the head upgrade. Here I'm showing off the power of the arm upgrade, which, just like in the original Mega Man X and Mega Man X, Maverick Hunter X, you can charge up not just your Buster, but all your special weapons, use special charged up versions of the attacks. I showed up the Storm Tornado version there to deal with Thunder Slammer even faster, but we're going to be showing off the Shotgun Ice charged up version when we fight Spark Mandrill. The Spark Mandrill, just like in the original Mega Man X, is quite difficult, and I would always go into this boss fight with one sub-tank, one full sub-tank just in case, because Spark Mandrill is kind of a menace. Due to how small and crunched the arena is, and how large Spark Mandrill is, it's actually it's actually an issue, because he's still just as fast as he was in the original Mega Man X and Maverick Hunter X for that matter. So he can be a menace. He's still very, very weak to Shotgun Ice. Not to the point that you can break the fight by hitting him with Shotgun Ice at the perfect time. That has not been that has been patched out. But the charged up version of Shotgun Ice, as you can see here, the slide. You can't jump on that slide anymore, but it does do a lot of damage. And in a small crunched arena like this, it is very, very useful. I'm doing very well in this boss fight, but Spark Mandrill is going to get a lucky hit in as I try to get him to show off all of his attacks, including his punch, his ferociously fast dash punch, and he is going to do so much damage. It's almost going to kill me. This is a very difficult fight. See, look how fast he moves, and with how slow you move in the Game Boy version, how slow you X is to react to button prompts. We'll get to that in a second. By the way, the input issue with Mega Man Xtreme, but because of that, Spark Mandrill, due to how fast he remains from Mega Man X and Maverick Hunter X in this game, it is an issue, and he is very difficult, and I would never go into this boss fight without a full sub-tank because of that. Let's discuss the input issue with Mega Man Xtreme. This may just be an emulator thing. It's possibly just an emulator thing, but I found that compared to Mega Man X1 and X2, Xtreme has an issue with dead inputs. There is just a situation where you will swear that you mash a button, whether it's the jump button or the fire button or dash or whatever it may be, and X will just not respond in time to do anything, to actually do anything about it. You saw one instance of it in Spark Mandrill stage where I almost jumped into a pit towards the end, right before I got the head upgrade. By the way, here I'm just showing off that you can still do the thing with the Beatron enemy where you can ride it all the way up, but there's actually nothing hidden up here this time as compared to in Mega Man X2. But you can get up here. There's just nothing there this time. Like not even here. There's nothing there. It's just a very dull, scaled down version of that part of Flame Stack stage. Anyway, there are moments where you will swear you hit the shoot button or the jump button or the dash button and X will just not respond, and that will lead to moments where you almost die or where you do in fact die. And just showing off there, you can't actually get up to that area without the beetle enemy, but nothing matters because there's nothing there anyway. The dead inputs is the biggest actual criticism I have about Mega Man Xtreme, because the whole thing about this game not being represented in the X Legacy Collection, that's not on this game. That's just that's just the problem with collections in general, not including all the games. But this whole dead input thing is an actual problem with Mega Man Xtreme, and it's like the one actual gripe I have with this game is that whole dead input situation that I'm not a fan of at all. Here again, showing off more scaled down stuff about Mega Man Xtreme. The volcano does not erupt. The lava goes up, but it doesn't actually erupt. Here I'm showing off, I believe, that life that you can pick up. Just like in Mega Man X2, that life is a lie. You don't want to pick that up. The lava isn't instant kill if you have the armor upgrade, but it is very quick to kill. It's just not worth your time to try and get the life, because you will die and lose that life anyway. Anyway, Flame Stack stage. Unique, because this is our only Mega Man X2 stage in this collection of 4 stages that we have here. And as a result, not only do we have the Dr. Light Capsule here, which is the last one for the armor upgrade, which will reduce the amount of damage we take, very useful. But this is the only stage to include an alternate boss door, because this is the Mega Man X2 stage. So just like in Mega Man X2, where that stage features X-Hunter special boss doors in every single Mega Man X2 stage, this, being the one and only Mega Man X2 stage, features an alternate boss door. But instead of fighting an X-Hunter, you will be able to fight a Shadow Hunter. Here, and by the way, I'm just showing off, we have all the armor, so ta-da, first armor for Mega Man X1 is here. But if we go up, we will see that the old X-Hunter boss door is still here. And if we go in, instead of fighting Agile, Violin, or Serges, we fight Zane of the Shadow Hunters. He's the only Shadow Hunter you can fight in at this point in Mega Man Xtreme. He introduces himself. He's very, very easy. The original bosses that they have in this game, which is Zane and Gimel, the first iterations of their fights are really, really stupidly easy. The only thing Zane does is just going to jump 3 times to slash down, and then a 4th jump where he is going to do a spin attack. Jump slash, jump slash, jump slash, and that, you know, then another jump with a little spin, and that's it. He is very, very easy to deal with. You can't attack him head on, just wait until after he just does his jumps to land some damage on him. He only has half a health bar in this first optional encounter, so really not much to him. We'll be talking more about Zane in the next video, because this video is already going to get to about 40 minutes. So in the next video, I'm going to talk more about the stuff with Zane and the Shadow Hunters. Here I'm just showing off the bottom path. If you decide not to go after Zane, you just, you know, do that very simple area that I took damage in, but, you know, whatever. Now I'm just going backwards so I can kind of respawn the platform so I can get across, which I can now. Fantastic. Shadow Hunters, very interesting concept, but their first optional fights that you can have with them before the final castle are very much a joke. The Zane fight is nothing. The Gimel fight, when we eventually get to that, is also nothing. Their rematches, their actual official battles, when you actually get to the castle, are a little bit more involved, but, you know, not that much more involved. Especially the Zane one, it's really not that much more involved at all. But we'll get to that when we get to it. For now, we are at the last of our 4 bosses here. And again, just like the Mega Man World series, or the Rockman World series, the Mega Man for Game Boy series, we're only dealing with the bosses in batches of 4, so this is the last boss before we move on to the final castle of Mega Man Xtreme. Flamestack fights just as he did in Mega Man X2. The arena is nice and vertical, just as it was in Mega Man X2. So this is a situation where, you know, nothing was compromised for this fight. I mean, the arena is still crunched in as it has to be, because it's a Game Boy game, but the verticality of the arena is still captured here really well. So I really like that. And I bring that up here with Flamestack because there is another boss that we fight in a later part of this game that, by the way, here I'm showing off Flamestack's awesome uppercut attack that, you know, takes you up and down. After this, we are going to be when we get to our next batch of 4 Mavericks, we're going to be fighting another boss with a vertical arena that does not have the vertical arena. So, you know, it's nice that it's here for Flamestack's battle, but the fact that one of the later bosses that's also supposed to have a vertical arena doesn't have its vertical arena is kind of weird to me. Anyway, it's been a long 40 minutes. I've been going on and on and on, rambling on and on and on. I hope you enjoyed. We have defeated Flamestack. We have defeated our 4 Mavericks for this part of Mega Man Xtreme. Next time, we move on to the final castle. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.